Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit entitled Parents and it's by user MiserablePicklet847. My parents want to give my sister the earrings my grandma left me. This story is so weird. When I, 27 female, was 20 years old, I was in a relationship or friends with benefits situation with a guy who is now 40 male. It was messy. We were on and off for almost 5 years. He was always clear he wasn't ready for a relationship, and I was always clear that I was madly in love with him. Every time I got tired of the situation and wanted to leave, somehow he convinced me to stay because love is free. We have so much time together, and he wasn't ready to commit. I asked my sister, now 42 female, for advice, and she gave me some crappy advice like to make him compromise, leave stuff at his place, and basically turn him into a boyfriend until it was too late for him to say no. I never managed to do that because I wanted him to love me as much as I love him, not trap him. During the last night I spent at his place, he said he wanted to try something more serious with me, talked about some dates he planned, etc. only to ghost me forever. It was hard. This was the first person I loved, and he treated me like crap. 6 months passed, and my sister came home. We both lived with our parents, and she said she wanted to introduce her brand new boyfriend. She had had a ton of boyfriends, but she said this was the one. It was dinner only with my parents at our home, so I was excluded and expected to just go out or chill in my room. The day came, and while they were dining, I ordered a pizza and came downstairs when it arrived, only to find the guy I was with 6 months prior dining with my parents and sister. I was shocked, but I paid for my pizza and went to my room again to cry. After dinner was over, I confronted my sister in front of our parents and begged her not to be with him, to be loyal to me, her little sister. There was no way she didn't know who he was. I showed her pictures of him, his social media, and where he worked, and she even knew where he lived. They never met because he didn't want to meet my family and never introduced himself. But she knew who he was, and she excluded me from that dinner because she knew. She said they met by chance, or stalking. After we stopped seeing each other, she knew how hard that rupture was. She knew how painful it was not to have even a closure. He just stopped replying, not even blocking me. He left me there wondering after 5 years. She knew that during those 6 months, I was still hurting. I know how it was my fault. I was too naive and thought that if I stayed long enough, he would be ready for the relationship I wanted and would learn to love me. Stupid, I know. She defended herself, saying it was a coincidence and chemistry was there. She loved him and she wasn't going to lose the love of her life. This stuff only happens once in a lifetime. When I was in my early 20s, I would believe that. However, now I know that there are 8 billion people in this world. There's no one love of your life. You can find the love of your life multiple times if you look for it. My parents sided with her and said I should get over it since we never had a real relationship. Fast forward 1.5 years. I've been excluded from multiple family gatherings because he would be around, and my family thinks I will bring negative vibes since I'm still bitter about everything. I have no feelings for him, but I feel betrayed by my sister and my parents. He is just a piece of crap in my eyes now. My sister is now 6 months pregnant. Due to her age, she has been extremely pampered by my parents. She still lives at home at 42 and is going to move with him maybe 2 months after the baby is born. Then they're going to marry. In my culture, it is normal that if a woman gives birth, she moves back or stays with her mom so the mom will help with the baby for the first few months. A week ago, my sister's friends had a surprise baby shower. I happened to be at home. I tried to talk to them. I don't know why. Maybe because my sister and I were too close before and I'm sad we're no longer friends. But her friends acted like I wasn't there and only replied to me with yes, no, or silence. As if I was the one that created this mess, or I was a home wrecker, or I tried to seduce my sister's man. I was planning to move out already, I was saving money, etc. But after that, I left immediately for a friend's house. I'm in the process of finding my place. Then, 2 days ago, I received a call from my parents asking me to talk. I went to their house and they informed me that the diamond earrings my grandma left me would be given to my sister. Those earrings have been in my family for 4 generations, and before my grandma died, she said the earrings would be mine and my sister would receive a gold necklace. Grandma trusted my parents with the earrings, but there was no will or anything. She just asked to give them to me when I was mature enough to appreciate and take care of a family heirloom. Now, my parents think that since my sister is getting married first and is having grandma's first great-grandchild, my sister should have them. I'm really mad now. They're robbing me of something my grandma left me. I don't think my parents are evil. I think they were too worried my sister wouldn't marry due to her age. Again, in my culture, a single woman in her 40s is something to worry about for her family. And now that she's forming a family, they want to reward her with everything. But I was the closest to my grandma. She made it clear the earrings would be mine and not my sister's. Not the first one to marry or have a child, but mine. After 2 years of being excluded in favor of my sister, I gave the ultimatum to my parents. They gave the earrings to me as my grandma intended, or I would cut them from my life forever. Not going to lie, the idea of cutting my family off is too painful, but I feel they already made me and still make me so wrong I don't want them in my life anymore. I feel a little shallow over this, but those are the only things my grandma left. They are not entitled to them. Wow, OP, your parents and your sister, we bundle them up and we have a huge pile of crap. And just like I said under my breath there, I'm calling it. Your sister is calling it chance, I'm calling it stalking. I'm pretty sure she went after him on purpose. You gave her all the information she needed to create a chance encounter. I mean, don't get me wrong, that guy is also a huge pile of crap for how he strung you along for 5 years only to then ghost you and end up with your sister. Damn. OP, I wouldn't feel a little bit bad for cutting them off. I would feel fantastic after getting rid again of that pile of crap. It must be horrible having that kind of family. Now, regarding your earrings, I think you've got 2 options. 1, you forget about them, which of course would absolutely suck. Or 2, you go get them. Unfortunately, there is no will or any kind of legal document that I would think you could enforce to say, yeah, those earrings belong to me. So maybe if they're in a place that is accessible to you, like, I don't know, your mom's dresser or something like that, you just go, you take them, and you leave. And what would you guys do if you were OP? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Library Mouse 4321 says, get your hands on those earrings and keep them safe. They are yours and should be in your possession by now. Ask nicely, and if she doesn't give them up, tell her you will sue. Then do it. Messy Red Panda says, your parents and your sister are acting horribly towards you. Those earrings are yours and you should put your foot down and get them. I understand that they are doing everything they can to get her married and situated because it's shameful that she is single at her age. For your culture, not in the real world and for me. But they are throwing you out and disrespecting you in the process. As painful as it will be for you to cut them out, they have already discarded you. And Slav Beef Punch says, I'm going to say it, your parents are crappy and abusive. They will not give you those earrings, I guarantee it. You're still in the fog, fear, obligation, and guilt. So you won't believe me, even though deep down, you know it's true. If I sound harsh, it's because I'm incredibly angry on your behalf. I'm also sad for you. You deserve loving, kind, supportive parents. Understandably, you didn't get that. You're craving that so strongly that you force yourself to pretend they love you, despite the many ways they've proven you don't matter to them. They're about to throw you away and it will destroy you, and that is just so awful and sad. I hope you have close friends who can support you emotionally. Additional information from OP's comments. I already made my mom admit in a text that my grandma in fact left the earrings to me. I don't know, I just feel so shallow fighting over a pair of earrings, but they have an emotional value to me. Grandma left no will, she just handed her jewelry, most of which were family heirlooms, to everybody. I was 12 when my grandma died. She gave the earrings to my mom so I could have them when I was ready to take care of them properly. I always thought I would wear them on my wedding day or a very special day. Since I lived with my parents not so long ago, I never asked for them because my mom has them in a safe in her room with other important stuff. Luckily, I needed my documents a few months ago, and due to laziness, I never returned them to the safe. I think they don't believe they're doing wrong by handing the earrings to my sister, who is having grandma's first great-grandchild. If grandma wanted that, she would have said so, but she said they were mine. Anyway, I still have keys from the house. I'm thinking of going one day when there's nobody in the house to take them without saying a word. I'm just scared of having legal troubles. I'm already living with a friend and in the process of getting my own place. Finally, my culture is not extremely strict, but there are things that mostly old people hold. Like, you live with your parents until you leave their house in a white dress to marry, and you must be a virgin. But since almost nobody marries a virgin, it's okay if you are just married. But if you don't marry, at least have a child before it's too late. For example, I'm 27 now, and my great aunt called me to say happy birthday and reminded me that my train was about to leave. This grand aunt had 2 kids who did not know their father because she was 30 and childless. So it's better to be a single mother than to stay to dress the saints. This is something the younger generations are leaving behind for sure. But a big part of our culture is that your blood comes first no matter what. Family is family. I guess my sister and my parents chose to ignore this. So yeah, I come from a more conservative culture, but most people twist those conservative values based on how it suits them. Alright, well, the community agrees that OP's family absolutely sucks and that she is entitled to those earrings. Now, in the additional context, OP told us that the earrings are in a safe, but apparently she knows how to access it because she was able to get her documents or something, and she has a plan to get them. So now, let's move on to the update to see how this story ends, but before that, if you're enjoying this video so far, please don't forget to click that like button, leave me a comment with your opinion on it, and of course, subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Now let's move on to the update. It's been 3 months since my original post, and I still get messages every once in a while asking for an update. Yes, I got the earrings. After my post, I went to my parents' house, opened the safe, took the earrings, and left. Then after that, I went again, told my parents I needed time to process stuff and be by myself, gave them their house keys and said I was leaving for good. My mom shed some tears, saying she couldn't believe I was such a bitter person. She raised me better, but I was turning my back to my family over nothing. Finally, she said it was shameful that I would leave the family house without being married or anything, so it was never about me or her loving me or anything but social pressure to keep an outdated tradition. My dad was very neutral, gave me a hug and wished me luck. For 2 months nothing happened and I barely had contact with my family. I found a place to live, tried to heal, had fun decorating my new home, your normal stuff. And then everything happened at once. For those 2 months, my sister and mom never reached out to me. Only my dad sent a text once a week asking how I was and wishing I was doing well. Then, my sister's boyfriend, future husband, my ex, started to follow me on Instagram again. I found it weird, but anyway. After all, he's my sister's boyfriend, the father of my niece, my future brother-in-law, my ex friends with benefits. Then he started liking my stories and replying to them with heart emojis and looking good, loving smiley face. This happened 3 times maybe? Then I received the voicemail from my mom calling me all sorts of names for going after a man that I knew was engaged, that she thought this was some kind of revenge over my poor sister, that I was causing her so much stress that her blood pressure level was over the moon. I was an inconsiderate femme fatale and she raised me better. Later, I learned through a cousin that my sister took his cell phone and found several conversations with several women, including his attempts to talk to me. So of course, she went to mom crying about me trying to steal her fiance. All messy to be honest. And less than a week later, another voicemail from my mom asking me where the F were the earrings. She went looking after them, and when she couldn't find them, she deduced it was me. She called me a thief, A disgrace. She disowned me and said they didn't consider me family anymore. I was dead to them. And she will be taking legal action against me for being a thief, if it is possible. I had no option but to block her and my sister and other family members who sided with them. My dad later texted me to let me know my mom went nuts and they won't take any legal action against me at all. By the end of last month, my cousin texted me that my sister had given birth to my niece. I know I shouldn't have, but I went to the hospital with a gift while wearing my beautiful and fancy earrings. I was kicked out, of course, but it was worth it. My sister, my mom, him, and other family members are blocked from all my social media. I'm low contact with my dad right now, but I hope we can meet again in the future. Also, my cousin, big gossiper that girl, let me know my sister is getting married in May, so she will have her happy ever after all. And me? I'm living my best life right now. In hindsight, I'm actually very grateful she took him. I was so young and honestly dumb when I was with him. I'm much more mature now and recognize he's the worst kind of man. Lesson learned. I'm so focused on myself right now and honestly very happy and proud of the person I'm becoming and where my life is going. Well, OP, you've got your earrings and you got rid of the crappy family members that were making your life miserable, so good for you. As for your sister, she might have gotten her quote-unquote happy ever after, but I don't think it's gonna last that long with that scumbag. Regardless, it's her problem now, and here's wishing you the best in the future. Take care and thank you for sharing. And now let's finish this video with a mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Petty Revenge and it's by user Himaru. I wasn't good enough for you back then, so now you're not good enough for me. So this is a story I just heard from my dad about some revenge my uncle did. My family, from what I'd say, is from a middle-class background in the north of England. Both my dad and uncle went through comprehensive school education during the 60s and the 70s. My uncle proved to have a talent in science through secondary school and so later applied to multiple universities around the country, including Oxford. Now, Oxford University is well known as one of the top-notch elite universities, and so it is quite well-to-do and posh, snobby. Oxford University turned him down. They considered a comprehensive school education not good enough. It wasn't grammar or private school education, and they were pretty explicit about it at the time. Roll on to the 1990s. My uncle is one of the foremost experts in his field and a highly respected scientist. At the time, he was working for a research establishment in the USA. It's now 93 or 94, and he receives a letter from, wouldn't you know, Oxford University. And this time, instead of dismissing his comprehensive school education, they are offering for him to come over for a job interview. He accepts, but points out he is in America. So the prestigious university offered to fly him over on the Concorde. They roll out the red carpet to really butter him up. My dad picks him up from the airport, and to my dad's horror, my uncle is in his best "I'm relaxed" gear. A shirt that's dirty, shorts and flip-flops, rocking his usual scruffy beard. Really not job interview worthy at all. My dad thought that because he was going for this high-end Oxford University job interview, he'd at least put on his best suit. After all, the university was trying to poach him back to the UK, not looking like he just walked off a beach in the Gulf of Mexico to grab a drink at the bar. So my dad drops my uncle off and waits in the car park. 1 hour later, my uncle reappears, gets in the car and asks to be taken to the airport. My dad asks him how it goes, expecting to have been there longer in the car park waiting for him. They offered me the job, but I turned it down. I told them that I wasn't good enough for you when I was 18, they aren't good enough for me now. The university was also paying for his Concorde flight home again. I honestly don't know what would have been louder, the mic drop or the jaw drop. I think the saying is what comes around goes around or something like that. Thanks for sharing, OP. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.